Did Dead Rabbit Radio actually catch not one, but two EVPs while recording a recent episode? And then we take a look at the bizarre conspiracy surrounding Spielberg's latest movie, Disclosure Day. Is it possible that this sci-fi film is actually a weapon demons are using to destroy mankind's faith in their God? Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you guys are having a great day too, and I hope you guys had an awesome weekend. I did. I went and saw Disclosure Day. We'll get into that, and I saw the He-Man movie as well. I really enjoyed that one. We'll talk more about Disclosure Day in a bit, but yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I had a pretty chill weekend, pretty relaxing. Before you get started, a quick reminder, and it was the 8th anniversary of Dead Rabbit Radio over the weekend, so that was really cool. I went up to a nice restaurant and played video games for 12 hours a day all weekend, but I normally do that anyways. But a quick reminder, on June 27th at 11 a.m., now let's change that, June 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time will be the 8th anniversary Dead Rabbit Radio live stream. That'll be streamed on YouTube, and you'll be able to interact with me as well as other members of the Fluffle. It usually lasts around 2 hours, so you can pop in and pop out. If you can't make the live stream, we will release the full audio as well as a podcast episode, so you can listen to it then. But if you can make it out, it's always a lot of fun. I like interacting with you guys, answering your questions and all that stuff. We usually have a good time. But somebody who always has a good time, whether or not it's an 8th anniversary running into Dead Rabbit Radio, command everyone get on your feet and give it a 4. Robert Sr. Woohoo! Yeah! Yeah, here he comes, Robert Sr. walking on in. That's interesting. It looks like you're holding a stolen alien laser pistol. Good, we might need that. He's like, the cops arrest him. Sorry for outing you, bro. I did rat you out. No, Robert, his son Robert, and his wife Maria all came to see me at the Oregon Ghost Conference. And what a treat, right? Meeting you guys in real life. Really appreciate it. And Robert, that is why you are going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially, if you guys can't come out to the live shows or anything like that, it's totally fine. It really, really is. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. I also got to give you guys a heads up. This episode will probably be a little bit shorter than the rest. I know I say that all the time, and then you look at it, it's 56 minutes long. No, I have some crazy news while I'm recording this episode. It turns out there are 3 kittens at my friend's house. Jason, what are you, 7? He's a 7-year-old girl? Well, today I am, I guess, because I can't wait to go over there and meet these kittens. Yeah, 3 little kittens. You know, there's a bunch of stray cats running around, and we're trying to catch them to get them spayed and neutered. But we didn't get this one. We didn't get this mom soon enough, so now 3 little kittens. I haven't seen them yet. I'm going to go meet them once I'm done with this episode. So you look, it's like a 6-minute long episode. I'm just so excited. Haven't met them, haven't seen them. I've already given them names. I'm hoping one of them is Black. I call him Inky. And then one of them is Long. I'll call him, what was his name? I forgot already. Slinky. And then the other one will be Stinky. The third cat's like, what? Why am I Stinky? I'm Black too. Yeah, but you can't have 2 Inkies. That'd be weird. Yeah, you're Stinky. Because they all rhyme. He's like, I don't even smell. I talk. I'm a talking cat. Why are you calling me Stinky? Because it rhymes, bro. In fact, you know, your attitude towards this whole thing's stinking up the place a bit. That's how you got that name. He's going to be ostracized from his brothers before the sun sets today. Inky, watch, they're all like Calico or something like that. I'm all, boo, boo. I'm yelling in their faces. No, Jason, I hope this episode's long so these kittens don't get tormented by your mind games. No, I'm going to go take these kittens, I'm going to rub them all over my neck. so they'll imprint on me. They'll think I'm their mom. They're constantly trying to suck for my teats. I'm all, get away. You're all stinky. No, I'm really excited. I love cats. And we're going to, take care of these little guys and get them spayed and or neutered until the vet. Just do both. They're like, I don't think we have to do both. Here's an extra $100. Spay and neuter Stinky. We want to make sure his genetic line ends today. Really looking forward to some kitten stuff. But before we get into the kitten stuff, Robert, I'm going to go ahead and toss you the keys to the Jason jet ski. Everyone climb on board our little watercraft. Hold on tight to Robert's waist, but have kittens in your brain. Think about kittens. As Robert jets us out of Dead Rabbit Radio Command all the way out to Hood River, Oregon. Head all the way out to Hood River, Oregon. I mean, that's where I live. It's right around the corner. We take the jet ski down the Columbia River for a while. Whee! And then when it gets too hot, we go to Sabine's house, which is where the kittens are. But this story is PK, or pre-kitten. Last week, I had an episode about the movie The Mummy, Lee Cronin's movie The Mummy. And I was talking about, I'm not going to rehash the whole episode, but I got to give a little bit of context. You're like, yeah, Jason, we get it. You're a stealth advertiser for The Mummy. Of all the possible movies, a movie that came out last year. Sabine's house is haunted. I'll put all these episodes in the show notes. Sabine's house is haunted. My friend Sabine's house is haunted. And those poor kittens, now that I think about it, they're like, oh my goodness, could we have been born anywhere else? Other that's not like invaded by these spectral spirits. Sabine's house is haunted. I spend a lot of time over there, especially late at night, where I am either playing video games, she's long in bed, I'm either playing video games, working on the show, or watching movies. I mostly watch horror movies. But I can watch serial killer movies over there, I can watch torture porn. I mean, Sabine would rather me not, to be fair. But I can watch any sort of sci-fi movie over there. Late in the night, nothing. I can play Battlefield 6 until 3 in the morning, which I did over the weekend. It was Saturday night. I was up till about 3:30 playing Battlefield 6. Nothing. Didn't feel creeped out. Didn't feel any physical sensations. Didn't hear anything. I heard the screams of my enemies as I shot them in the face and their accusations of me aimbotting. But nothing in the house. However, if I watch a horror movie over there that involves the paranormal and especially demonic activity, the house doesn't like that. And that's what I was saying. I was watching The Mummy at her house, which I did not know. It's a great movie. Dead Rabbit Radio recommends The Mummy. I did not know it was a demon movie. It's not a mummy movie. It's about demonic possession. I didn't know that going in. And as I was watching it, I could feel the sensation of someone walking across the living room towards me. You know how you can feel the floor vibrate when someone's walking by? And it kept repeating itself. And it wasn't walking back and forth. It would walk towards me, and then it would start from the back of the living room and walk towards me again, and walk towards me again, and walk towards me again. We talked about that last week. One thing that I haven't told you guys, it's not super important. I didn't think it would be really important. Sabine brought it up, and I go, it won't be a problem. I've talked about setting up a studio in my bedroom. You guys, I was talking about it late last year, and then I finally got it set up a couple weeks ago. I said the sound's probably going to sound different. We're in a new location. I have a little desk set up in my bedroom. This is my new recording studio. Before I was in the living room, I had a $1,200 microphone attached to a $15 Walmart folding chair. Sabine goes, are you kind of concerned about taking this desk out of my house over to your house? And I go, no, like, why? Why would I think that taking an object that's been in a haunted house for decades would cause any problems whatsoever? What's interesting is I recorded that episode about the mummy, watching the mummy over at Sabine's house at this desk, as all the episodes have been recorded for probably the past 3 weeks. Now, I know at least one of you guys picked up on this. Conspiracy Sam commented during the episode on YouTube, he goes, dude, what's that noise? What was that noise that was playing in your episode? I'm sure other people heard it as well and just, didn't reach out. But and I didn't hear any of this while I was recording it. I was doing that segment about the mummy in Sabine's house, and I picked up, again, I didn't notice this. It wasn't until I was editing it later, but I heard this sound. I'm going to play it for you right here. I can't say I totally observed it, because when I turned and looked, there was nothing there. But while I was watching this horror movie on my laptop, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. It's an odd sound. I don't know what it was. And I was editing this episode, this mummy episode, at Sabine's house, and we'll get into that in a second as well. So this episode I go, I can't watch the mummy at Sabine's house. I recorded it, and then later I went over to Sabine's house to spend the night, and I was editing this particular episode, and I remember I was working on it, and I heard this sound, and I listened to this little clip, I don't know how many times. I was trying to figure out what that noise could have been. I'm thinking, a car? Could it have been me banging the desk or something like that? I don't know what it could be. I hadn't heard it in the previous 3 weeks, and I definitely don't remember hearing it the previous 8 years. I know what it sounds like when the cars drive by, and I know what it sounds like when my microphone picks up kids outside or the neighbor's dog and stuff like that. I even know what it sounds like when I bump into my mic. I didn't know what the sound was. I kept playing it over and over again. Now it's underneath all of the audio of me speaking, so I couldn't really isolate it. I go, oh, well, I don't know what that is. It's definitely odd. Don't know if it's creepy. I continued recording the episode, and a couple minutes later, this plays. It's a demon movie. It's all about demonic possession. It's very reminiscent of a movie like The Omen. It's very reminiscent of a movie like The Omen. It's very reminiscent of a movie like The Omen. And that's a perfect isolation. I had actually was stopping to think. That was a natural pause as I was recording it. And when I heard that while I was editing it, I go, and what's really interesting is as I was listening to the first sound, I go, it's too clouded. There's too much dialogue, or not dialogue. I'm talking too much over it. I can't isolate it. And then a couple of minutes later, I actually get a perfect isolated version of that sound. And this is after recording. This is hours after I recorded that episode while I'm editing it. So it's not like it was a wish fulfilled, but if it was one back in time because I wasn't hearing the sounds while I was recording it. Is it an EVP? I've actually tried slowing it down. I don't know if I tried speeding it up. I might do that while we're editing it, and if it does anything crazy, I'll hop back on. But I tried slowing it down. I tried reversing it. It's not like it's saying something, but it's a noise that I am unfamiliar with. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, could this have been a noise that, because I got a desk from Sabine's house, that actually was in that back room? It was her daughter's desk when she went to school. It was back in that room that, again, I don't feel uncomfortable with, but when the sun goes down, I shut that door. I don't even like that door being open while I'm just hanging out in the living room when I don't have my back to the door. And I go, because Sabine was there. She was reading a book or something like that while I was editing the episode. And I go, come here and take a listen to this. And that's when she brought up, maybe you're talking about my house. You're talking about the mummy and you're doing it at a desk that came from my house that may have had the same energy attached to it. Or spirit even. I go, I don't know. It's a good desk. What's interesting is that episode ended coming out late. That episode was supposed to come out Tuesday morning. I had to release it on Wednesday morning. The reason why? I couldn't finish editing it. This is what happened. It was poor planning on my part. And again, I never thought this would be an issue because I've edited really creepy episodes at Sabine's house before. I've been doing it for years. When I was editing the episode about Sabine's house and about the mummy and talking about both of those things, while I was editing the episode, once again, the floor was vibrating. Like someone was walking towards me. And it was so immediate and connected. This is how I had to edit that episode. And then finally, I just go, I can't get this done in time. I'm just going to release a rerun. We're going to have to change the schedule. I would edit maybe 5 minutes of the mummy segment, which takes 10 minutes, right? It takes me 10 minutes to edit 5 minutes of audio. So I would work on a chunk for like 10 minutes. The floor would be vibrating towards me. I would stop. I moved to the second story. The second story is disgusting, right? It's all about vor. It's all about sicko fetishes and things like that. The floor vibrating would stop. And I would edit that segment for 20 minutes. I'd be working on that part for like a good 40 minutes of the vor thing. And then I'd go, but I just can't release the first half of the episode unedited. So then I would go back to the mummy segment, and after a couple of minutes of working on that, the floor would start vibrating again. Fine. So I would jump back into the sexual fetish, the depraved sexual fetish part. The floor would not vibrate. No one was walking towards me. It was measurable, the difference between the two segments. And what's funny is if the second segment was very neutral, if it was a story about, aliens, or if it was a story about Bigfoot or something like that, that'd be one thing. The second story is gross. The second story is about a super weird fetish and how gross it can get. The house didn't care. The house did not care about the depths of human perversion. It didn't like a fictional movie involving demons. And it didn't like me talking about it. And now I'm editing it. Super weird. Fascinating stuff, though. And yeah, Conspiracy Sam, good ears, because you picked up on that one. But I wonder if you picked up on the second one as well. But fascinating stuff. Robert, let's go ahead and toss you the keys of the world famous Carpenter Copter. We are leaving behind Sabine's house. Why don't you fly us all the way out to a secret military base? We show up there, we're wearing army uniforms. We got on like our green suits and stuff like that, little hat. And we're all carrying baseball bats. And the guard at the gate goes, "Hey, what are you guys doing there?" We're like, "We're in the army, dude. Look at our uniforms." He's like, "Yes, sir." It's his first day too. He goes, "Oh, that's all the credentials you need. Go on inside." And it's weird, they were all carrying Louisville Sluggers. We're walking into this secret military base. And there's a bunch of lab coat dorks standing around with beakers and things like that. And we walk up to one of them, the king of the nerds, and we go, "Where is it?" And this guy kind of looks at us. He has his lab coat on. And he's like, "What?" He's all looking. He's all trying to cure cancer. I'm knock over the microscope. Forget that. Where is it? Show us it. And he goes, "It." I go, "You know the thing we're talking about." And the scientist goes, "Oh, Harold? Is that who you're talking about?" And that's when I grab this scientist by his collar. I'm like violently shaking him around. He's like, "No, that was the cure for measles. That was the cure for death." Smashing him around, smashing the place up real good. It's not a he. Its name isn't Harold, I scream in his face. There's a guy named Harold walking around the base. He's like, "Oh no, is he looking for me?" They're like, no, I think the other Harold." He's like, "Oh man, I'm about to beat my pants. I saw what he did in the laboratory." I'm shaking the king scientist, and I'm like, "Where is it? Where is it?" He's like, Fine. It's an it. Please, stop shaking me." And I drop him. "Take us to it." The scientist is like, "Fine." He's rolling around in the cures. He's like, "The cure will live on in me. I'll just have sex with everyone infected with cancer. I'll be a hero." And he gets up and he starts walking us through the facility. And we get to this room, the secure room, and it says on the door, "This is the home of Harold." There's like a welcome mat. Bless this mess. And they're like, "This is where we keep him." It. When he hits the button and the door slides back. We walk in and we're menacingly tapping the baseball bats in our hands like 1950s hoodlums. We take off our army uniform. Now we're all wearing black leather jackets. We were just sweating the whole time. But we had to look cool for this. We all put on our sunglasses. We're hitting the bats into our palms of our hands. And that's when we see it. That's where we see Harold. It's a gray alien. He's sitting there with a big bowl of strawberry ice cream. He looks at us with his big black eyes and goes, "I knew this day would come." Jason, are we about to murder? Are we about to murder this alien? I turn to you and you're afraid I'm going to start choking you. You're like, "Oh, make sure there's no cures around." You're holding your collar tight. I go, "Listen, it's only murder if it's a person." You're like, "Jason, aren't you about to go take care of kittens?" Forget that. It's only murder if it's a person. That is not a human being over there. Look at that thing. That's an alien. That's a space alien. And yes, I'm going to murder it, by the way, and all of you guys have to hit it at least one time. That way you're accessories to the murder, and no one can confess to the police. And you go, Jason, listen, we know that you often talk about murdering aliens on this show, and I'm surprised, you have all these ghostly encounters. I'm surprised the Greys haven't showed up to teach you a lesson or two. They're beating me with holographic baseball bats. I'm like, ha ha ha. They pass right through me, and then they activate them. I'm like, oh, my liver. Yes, the holographic baseball bat leaves no visible bruises, but your liver is getting badly damaged. You listen, would I actually murder an alien? Would I actually walk into a secure military facility simply to beat a gray alien with a bat? Well, I'll answer that question at the end of this segment. We're going to talk a little bit about the movie Disclosure Day and these bizarre claims that are being made about the movie. Not really going to give spoilers to the movie. It was okay. It was a chase movie, trying to outwit and outrun this group of mercenaries, or this corporation is probably a better term for it. I don't know if you've seen the trailers, but basically I won't say anything that's not in the trailer. This civilian guy is trying to leak all this information to the world that aliens are real, and the US government's known about it since Roswell. That's the plot of the movie. Corporations trying to get the secrets back he stole from them at any costs. That part of the movie's fun, right? Good action scenes. I liked a lot of the mystery to it. I mean, obviously it's aliens, right? You're like, oh, what's on that USB drive? Is it footage of Bigfoot? No, alien stuff like that. There's some really cool scenes in it, but this isn't a movie review so much as a critique of the entire idea. And I guess I really can't talk about that without, I try not to do major spoilers, but obviously in this movie, aliens are real. There's footage of real aliens being recovered from crash sites. There's footage, this is all the stuff he wants to leak. There's footage of these huge spacecraft in the sky. And at one point, the hero, the protagonist, probably a better term, at one point in the movie, the protagonist goes, this is the hardest one to watch. He's trying to convince somebody that aliens are real, so they'll kind of help him on his mission. That's not entirely accurate, but again, I'm not trying to spoil too much. He goes, this is the hardest one to watch, and he put it in, and it was a video of a gray alien being tortured. It was me. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't tell you guys. I'm in the new Spielberg movie, Disclosure Day. Old Steve reached out to me and said, hey man, I listened to your podcast, it's pretty good. Especially that episode where he talked about the man who tried to rape me. You could have left that out of the whole Dead Rabbit Radio universe. I'll put that one in the show notes. But you also probably didn't need to name it the Steven Spielberg Rape Caper. It's a crazy true crime story. But yeah, so they torture this gray alien. You hear it screaming. And they're scientists, right? It's not like Jigsaw level torture. It's not, they have him chained to a hyper reactor. He has 60 seconds to get the key out from underneath his eyeball, or he's going to warp into deep space or something. Although that would be kind of an awesome addition to the Saw franchise, Saw in space. They're a bunch of scientists, and they're doing something to him. We hear him squealing and screaming out in pain. And it's supposed to be like this big moment, right? Look what we're doing to these people. We have these aliens in captivity, and we're torturing them. You hear it screaming. Now, Jason, you're like, listen, obviously if someone was torturing a bird or a pig or even a cricket, you would intervene, right? You have a problem with torture. I do have a problem with torture, right? Punishment for enjoyment's sake. I even have a problem with it if it's like to extract information. I'm not a big torture advocate. I do watch a lot of torture porn, but it's for research. Listen, the movie's good. This is what I'm getting at here. And this is an interesting thing. They chose gray aliens for the movie because gray aliens are mostly what's known in pop culture. But gray aliens, if you look at all of the accounts, and we don't know which ones are real and which ones are fake. Some of them you can say this is provably fake. But a single observer being abducted by it, first off, that right there, right? The gray aliens kidnap people. Gray aliens, if you asked anyone, what can you tell me about gray aliens? They'll probably say spaceships. You go, okay, yeah, the spaceships. And they're like, they're gray. I was like, okay, yeah. There's a bunch of stuff you can say with the first thing you think of when you think of a gray alien. But what's the first thing you think of when you think of a gray alien, but not their skin color or the fact that they're aliens or they have spaceships or any of that? And they go, I guess that they abduct people? Exactly. Since I narrowed it down, you guessed 100 different things. I go, not that. Not they have big feet. Not that. They kidnap humans. And okay, so Steve, here's the thing. I know you were going for this emotional moment. I was supposed to feel bad for this alien being tortured by the U.S. government, but they started it. They started it. They've been torturing American citizens, people all over the world, really, for decades. Raping them. Doing all sorts of horrible medical experiments on them. I'm sure we can jam a needle into one of their eyeballs. You're like, yes, Jason, I mean, are you condoning the torture of Abu Ghraib? No, it's different. Obviously, humans shouldn't torture other humans. That's wrong. But he's not a human. It's a space alien. And they started it. Going back, forget the whole Abu Ghraib thing. Forget 9/11 and all the horrible things that Al-Qaeda did to America. The aliens started it. Now, listen, I'm not saying that I have a kill on sight or a torture on sight policy towards gray aliens, but I will say this. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I get it sometimes they're space brothers. I get it sometimes they might deflect an asteroid from destroying Earth. Thank you. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to feel sad if you get tortured by the U.S. government because you guys did it first. And that's kind of, the movie. I don't want to give anything away. Jason, you've kind of given the whole movie away at this point. Now you're definitely going to go buy a ticket. A great alien gets tortured on IMAX, I'm in. Maybe every so often alien tortures a human and kidnaps them right out of their home, experiments on them, rapes them, makes them part of their breeding program against their will, all this horrible stuff. But, if aliens came down and offered you all these cures and wanted to stop world wars and stuff like that, here's the thing, I wouldn't trust their motives. No more than, listen, a cow can grow up on a farm and have a loving farm owner. What's the guy name? A cattleman? A cattleman comes out every day and pets old Bessie and then squeezes her teats until milk shoots out. But Bessie also knows that she's technically Bessie number 4. The previous 3 Bessies were ground into beef and had their hooves cut off and sent to the Elmer glue factory. Both things can be true at once. It means that she's still going to get food from the cattleman. She's still going to get milked by the cattleman, but she knows at the end of the day she is food for the cattleman. I don't really trust gray aliens. I would have a hard time trusting them if they showed up and said, "We will cure your diseases. We will make peace on Earth possible. And you will join the Space Brotherhood." But he points at me, not that guy. No, the nightmares, the visions are back. I'm all telepathically putting images in their heads. They're like, he doesn't get to join. Which I would wear as a badge of honor. I would pull out my trumpet and start doing a jazz solo as I walked closer and closer to the gray alien just to annoy him. Is that the rest of humanity is ascending? Their spirits are leaving their body to join a cosmic consciousness. I'm like, blowing a trumpet, jazz all the way up, guys. You can leave me here, but you won't be able to forget the horrible noises of jazz music. Well, what's interesting is Steven Spielberg's movie has gotten mired in some recent controversy, and these two stories, they're kind of connected. We're going to talk about them real quick here. First off, let's take a look at this. On May 29th, 2026, Monsignor Stephen Rossetti, he is a Catholic priest, a psychologist, and also he's an exorcist for the Washington, D.C. Archdiocese. He posted a video on his Facebook page, and in this video, he said, quote, "As an exorcist, I wanted to raise that danger." He says, as an exorcist, I wanted to raise that danger, meaning he wanted to make people aware of something. As an exorcist, I wanted to raise that danger, and that is that demons like to hide. They don't want us to know what they're doing because they're more effective when we don't realize it. And, obviously he's an exorcist. He knows what he's talking about. He's faced them down. But he continues, quote, they can kind of get into your head, and manipulate things in the world to influence us to do evil. Continuing the quote, it's my personal belief that many, if not most of these UFO sightings are in fact demons. Now, this is a growing conspiracy theory. We covered it a couple of years ago when we talked about the Collins Elite, a supposed group inside Washington, D.C., very powerful people who have been there for decades, the deep state type of thing. You have people who are more powerful than senators, more powerful than even the president, because they're just so ingrained in the political machine. They know who to call. They know who to threaten. They know all of it. Collins Elite, their goal is to make sure America does not have a full-on contact with aliens or full disclosure, because they also believe aliens are demons. Whether or not the Collins Elite actually exist, we don't know. But the idea that aliens are demons is a growing conspiracy theory. More and more people are talking about it. And Monsignor Rossetti mentioned this on Facebook. Well, he apparently ruffled a few space feathers, because he was fired as the exorcist, or one of the exorcists for the Washington, D.C. Archdiocese after he made this statement. Not only that, he's still a priest. They didn't defrock him. They don't have that power, right? That comes from higher up, the Pope. But the D.C. Archdiocese not only fired him as being one of their exorcists, they also cut ties with, he had an organization that worked on psychological matters for fellow priests. He specialized in treating other priests who were going through mental health issues, stress issues, things like that. The Washington, D.C. Archdiocese worked with that group. They cut ties with his group, and they also cut ties with him. And it became a news story. It's so funny. Had they not done anything, they privately admonished him. They go, hey, Steve, you can't be talking about stuff like that on your Facebook group. It's just weird. Okay, I won't do it anymore, sorry. But they made a big public spectacle of it, and what happened was 100,000 or more people saw that article, and they go, oh, I never thought about that. Aliens are demons. That kind of does make a little bit of sense. Right? Torturing humans, kidnapping humans, raping humans, while at the same time promising us joining into a one-world government. They can bring peace to the world. All we have to do is trust them. You look at the UFO lore, it does match up with a hidden, malignant enemy of mankind. The demons. It's not a conspiracy theory that I actually believe. I think it's very fascinating. I don't know how much truth there is in it, but I am open-minded to it. When I saw this pop up in mainstream media, I think the church wanted to dismiss this theory, but instead they introduced 100,000 or more people to this idea. It had the exact opposite effect. Cardinal Robert McElroy, who is with the Washington, D.C. Archdiocese, he said, quote, linking UFOs to demonic presence and the center's recent use, they're talking about his center and Stephen Rossetti's center, and their posting this stuff on Facebook. Quote, linking UFOs to demonic presence and the center's recent use of social media gravely undermines the church's very precise teachings on the devil, demons, and exorcism. But it's possible. That's what I find so interesting. It is possible. I think that the church felt embarrassed by these comments. I'm sure they got a lot of phone calls. And let's put on our conspiracy caps here for a second. It's possible that they got phone calls. Washington, D.C. Archdiocese probably got phone calls from sitting members of Congress, probably got phone calls from fellow deep state members saying, you can't be talking like this. I got a gray alien hiding in my closet right now. He has a laser gun to my daughter's head. He says if you don't take care of this, he's going to zap her brain. You got to clamp this down. Listen, man, it's possible. If I was a demon, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't think about it? Flying around in the sky, bright lights. Demons are fallen angels. Lucifer is described as an angel of light. A big blazing light in the sky, things like that. Demons, if they can... I just don't understand what the big deal is. I don't believe this conspiracy theory, but if I was a demon, I 100% would either hide within the UFO phenomenon or have made it up in the first place. Because here's the thing. You're getting people to question all of these things about religion, about their place in the world and how their religion plays into it. If aliens are real, what does that say about God? What does it say about humans' relationship with God? If there are species all over the universe, are we truly special? You have questions like that. Also, you're a demon, you disguise yourself as aliens. Here's the thing. Let's take that thing for a second. You're telling me, and the Catholic Church official position is that a demon can possess a child or an adult or whatever and take their form and disguise themselves as them until they are either outed because their behavior is so bizarre. You have a 7-year-old who now knows 62 different languages, right? Okay, walk in a church, she bursts into flame. It's kind of a big warning sign she's possessed. You believe that. That's actually part of your doctrine. That's why you have exorcists in the first place. But you won't believe that an alien could, at the very least, possess an alien? Possess an alien, take control of a UFO, come down and deliver these messages of peace and wonder. All we have to do is follow them. And that's the message of religion, and that's usually the message of the religion's destroyer as well. They have all the answers. And, I mean, listen, demons are quite powerful entities. Former angels. Former messengers of God. You're telling me he couldn't, not, even if he's not, let's say aliens don't exist at all, that all the sightings are actually demons in disguise. Why not? Miracles and wonders. It would make sense. If I was a demon, I 100% would disguise myself as a UFO phenomenon. Because I think you would get, if we had full disclosure and you had all these aliens come down and offer us all of these peaceful things, all we have to do is join their space brotherhood, and it turns out that the space brotherhood has no room for Christians or Muslims or Jews or Buddhists or anything like that. But look at, your aunt no longer has cancer. The water is clean. The sky is clear. We live in a moment of abundance. All we have to do is reject our old human ways for the space community. A lot of people would do that. Now, I mean, there have been stories where aliens come and talk about religion and stuff like that. But on the flip side, there are stories where people have said when aliens have come to abduct me, like I've been abducted a couple times in the past, aliens came this time and I prayed to Jesus and the alien disappeared and I never saw it again. I never got abducted after that. So, I mean, I don't believe it. I mean, I'm not saying that those stories are fake, but I don't know what the mechanism would be for that. I personally don't think aliens are demons, but it would not be out of the realm of the possibility. But it would not be out of the realm of possibility for me. For what I know about demons, it would be something they would do. Trick people. Trick people. But let's take a look at this, because we have it, that was kind of leading into this Disclosure Day specific story, and religion, and to demons and aliens and all this stuff. This is kind of hot right now. What happened was recently Steven Spielberg did an interview with CBS where he's talking about his movie Disclosure Day. And he had this quote. I'll just play his quote here so you can hear it from him. There's going to be no translation errors or anything. No misspeaking the words. Go ahead. Take it away, Steve.
This truth were just known overnight. If the government announced, yes, we have been keeping this from you since 1947, that would mess up a lot of people. And the movie also takes the position of the church. What does this do to the fundamental beliefs that many of us have? And, is God our God only on this planet? Or is God a God for every system where there's civilization, intelligent life, and even developing life?
Okay, right. It is an interesting idea. How would religion deal with aliens. I think that's the biggest thing. When we talk about disclosure, people are going to lose their minds if all of a sudden we knew for a fact not only are aliens real, but they're visiting Earth. It's not, people go, it'd be an economic issue. What would it do to the stock market? What would it do to people's, would you go to work the next day if we're staying with a peaceful theory, right? Obviously, if there's mech soldiers marching through the city as alien guard dogs tear children limb for limb, you're not going to work, right? Unless your work is the army, and then I hope you're going to work. But if an alien craft showed up around the moon and they started making communication with the world's governments and they said, we want to come closer, we want to finally disclose ourselves, and the government's okay with it and all this stuff, and then a ship comes down and you have a high school band playing the E.T. theme song as the visitors step off of their vessel, would you still go to work? Would you still maintain your daily life? Would it be super disruptive? Would society collapse? All those questions are asked, but really the question is, how would religious people handle it? The majority of the world is religious. There are more people who believe in religion on this planet than don't. It's funny because I was having this conversation with a friend recently, and they didn't believe that. They didn't believe me when I said that. Because, all the headlines and everything make it look like religion is on the decline. In certain countries, in America, it is. But it's still a majority of Americans are religious. A majority of the world's population is religious. And that would be the question. If you worked at Jiffy Lube and you found out aliens exist, you still got to pay your rent. That guy's car still needs to get its oil changed. You'd go into work. You might take a couple days off, right? The world might seem to stop, but it would continue. The economy would continue on. Wars, we would wonder if there would be an uptick in wars because people go, well, this is our last gasp to gain territory before the aliens solidify whatever they're going to do. Again, in this theory, they're peaceful. Or would people go, well, okay, we're done with this. There's a bigger thing out there than this strip of land. But how would you think about life and death? If aliens arrived, how would you process that? Man was created in God's image, but here is something else. Not of earth, possibly not of God. What does this mean about life after death? And especially if these aliens, because you would ask these questions. We've had stories, we've covered them on the show, where people meet gray aliens, they come to their house or they get abducted, and they'll ask, is religion real? And aliens have given varied answers on it. But generally, they'll say, yeah, there is a God. So how would it's that and I'm a religious person, right? I'm not knocking anyone saying they're stupid for believing in religion, but my personal beliefs account for the existence of aliens. That wouldn't be a super shock. I mean, obviously it would be. If an alien craft showed up, I wouldn't be like, you're on. I have to go get my oil changed to Jiffy Lube. I hope they're open today. But it wouldn't test my faith. But would it for a lot of other people? Anyway, so Steven Spielberg had that interesting quote. He goes, I think that's a good point. How would the church deal with this? Now, I don't want to get too into the weeds on this one, but I think based on this quote, and I can't answer this for you, but I think you need to think about what he means when he says the church. When I took that quote, I meant it to mean all religion. That's how I took it. He could have done what I try to do on the show. I don't always do it. But when I'm talking about kind of a generalized spiritual question, I'll say, if you're having spiritual problems, talk to your priest, talk to your imam, talk to your rabbi, talk to your spiritual leader. I'll put out different scenarios because I know I'm speaking to a global audience, right? I don't always do it because I just forget sometimes, honestly. But I always try to give those options because I know people of different faiths listen to this show. I'm not like virtue signaling or anything. If I always said talk to your priest, that's going to eliminate, 90% of the people out there being like, oh, I don't have a priest. Do I have to talk to a priest? Can only a priest help me with it? But I could easily just say, you go to your local church as a colloquial term, meaning any religious institution. From a kingdom hall of the Jehovah's Witness to a parish of the Roman Catholic Church, mosque, synagogue, what have you. That's how I read it. And the fact that he continues to use the term we, meaning we as a people. And Steven Spielberg is Jewish, and so when he's saying we, I take it to mean him and all other religious people of all other religious stripes. Not everyone's taking it that way, and I can't say 100%. That's what I think he's saying. You may hear it differently, because a lot of times when people hear the word the church, they take it to mean Christianity and Christianity only. Because sometimes it is used that way. When you say the church has an issue with that, you're basically saying Christians or Christianity in general has an issue with that stance. It is a term often meant to only mean Christians. But what's happening is, because of this interview, people have declared that this movie is anti-Christian, which I'm not going to tell you what opinion you should have, right? I'm not going to say, I don't think it was. But if you watch it and you think differently, then that's as valid as an opinion as mine is. I don't think the movie was anti-Christian. I don't even think the movie was anti-religious. But he made this comment, and again, we have people making some serious accusations about this. We have Father Dan Rehill, a Roman Catholic priest and an exorcist with the Diocese of Nashville, Texas. Let me read you this quote. He said, quote, "One of the things that comes to mind is that the movie itself, I'm not saying this is what was done, but this could be done. The movie could be consecrated to Satan, and demons can be attached to the movie." What? I know. It's like, you can say, hey, man, I think the movie's anti-Christian. I think Steven Spielberg has a slant against Christianity. He's for Judaism and against Christian, which I, again, don't believe. I think Steven Spielberg has a real problem with fat people. That's something that I noticed in his movies growing up. He doesn't like fat people. I don't know if he just hates them or thinks they're funny, but I think he personally does not like fat people, honestly. But I don't think that this movie was consecrated to demons. And basically what it is continuing this quote from Father Rehill. He goes, quote, "They could do that with a movie. They would attach demons of unbelief, demons of fear, demons of terror would attach to people and shake their faith. So that might be one reason to not go to the movie. I'm not saying that's what they did. I'm just saying that could be done. You know, they could put a curse over the film that all who watch it have demons provoke them. It could happen. We don't know if it did, but it could." Unquote. Here's the thing. It is possible. Because what I believe in demons. I do agree you could do that. I do believe you can create cursed media. But I don't think Steven Spielberg did. I don't think the movie was intended to shake anyone's faith. It's a profound and interesting question. How would religion deal with first contact, with open disclosure? And all religions have really kind of addressed it at this point in one way or the other. I looked it up. In Judaism, they do consider the possibility that aliens are out there. This is really interesting. The question is, this has been blowing my mind recently, because I just saw, I was, doing research for this story. The question is, if you take the idea that man was created in God's image, and that does not mean that God has 2 arms and 2 legs and flesh and eyes and anything like that. What it means is that humans have free will. That's what that means. We're created in God's image. We are created like him. We have free will. We can choose good or evil. I'm trying to find an exact source for this. I've seen people comment on this. I'm trying to find an exact source on it. But apparently, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the Jewish faith, aliens, they could exist. They probably do exist. However, they would have no free will because they are not created in God's image. I was like, dude, that's actually kind of crazy if you think about it. Because gray aliens, I know there's reptilians and there's Pleiadians and all these other different races out there. But speaking specifically about the gray aliens, a lot of times they are described as acting robotic, which would be a perfect way to describe something that has no free will. I believe that the Muslim faith also accounts for the existence of aliens. they don't go, well, no, there's no way they could ever exist. I don't know how much of it plays in their theology, but I do believe in the Quran it makes references to the other worlds of God's creation. I mean, obviously you can look up and see there's something up there, stars, and then you can kind of hypothesize it. We knew that there were other planets in the solar system, almost as far back as humans could observe change. In Christianity itself, one of the best observatories in the world, one of the world-class astronomy centers is in the Vatican. In Vatican City. The Catholic Church, despite their fact that they burned a lot of scientists back in the day, they don't do that anymore. And they actually go, yeah, there's probably aliens out there. I think as far as the Christian faith goes, the only people I think who would be radically against the very idea of aliens, and I could be wrong, right? I probably should research this before I say that, but is the subset of Christians who believe the world is 6,000 years old. I don't know what their views are on aliens. I know what their views are on the Grand Canyon, that it was created during the 40-day flood of Noah, and it was a series of lightning strikes over 40 days carved out the Grand Canyon. I don't think that. I don't think that's true, right? I think an alien can disguise himself as an alien. I think a demon can disguise himself as an alien and build himself a spaceship. It's all just a visual hallucination and all of this stuff. Or maybe it's a physical spaceship. I mean, demons are the smartest entities second really only to God. They're been around before time existed. An alien is far smarter than any human. It wouldn't even come close. Saying the intelligence between a human and a gopher it would be the difference between a human and a piece of dirt would be how smart demons are compared to humans. It doesn't even, there's no comparison at all. Yeah, no, I don't think the movie was cursed by demons. I don't think the movie is set out to make you hate your faith. In the movie, there is really only one religion shown, and that is a group of Catholic nuns. They don't show people in a synagogue watching the disclosure video. They don't show people in a mosque watching the disclosure video. And people could say, oh, you're trying to make Christians question their faith, but not Judaism. And again, a lot of Christians do believe, one, that aliens exist. Where they play a part in the creation story, who knows? How they play a part in the salvation story, who knows? I mean, these are interesting questions, right? Would an alien have to accept Jesus as his Lord and Savior to go to heaven? Or was there an alien version of Jesus? These are all fascinating questions. They don't get asked a lot in church, so people just think no one ever talks about them. But you can Google these, and there have been articles and books and all of this stuff written on these subjects. Yeah, I don't think the movie's possessed by demons, and I don't think Steven Spielberg is trying to destroy Christianity. So, anyways, I don't know how else to end this episode. While you sit and think about your religion's place in the universe, while you sit and think about that, I'm going to go play with some kittens. While you wrestle with these profound questions of whether or not Jason would actually torture a sentient gray alien, while you really kind of sit back and think about that, just imagine me with 3 kittens in my lap. The question is, do they love me? Do they have free will? Or are they just automatons walking around in my lap? I don't know either, but I treat them like they love me, because I'm sure that they do. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys.